I wasn't living here in Armenia before. I was in Mexico. So
Really?
my family migrated to Mexico in 1998, and I came back to Armenia in 2008. What if there was a solution, there was a product that can tell us what to do next, but it can tell us that based on data, be in constant communication with them.
Yeah.
So that's the I would say that's the most important thing that we are doing right now in the sales aspect.
Can I pay you in Bitcoin to use Leanbe? Would you be open to something like that?
Yes, sure, for sure, for sure.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Sales Biz. I appreciate you always taking the time. Before we kick it off, folks, everyone knows the drill. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Drop us some feedback in the comment section and hit that like button if you find any value out of this specific episode. Today, my guest comes from Yerevan, Armenia, my homeland. Super excited to have him. He is currently the CEO of Leanbe, and I'll let him explain about what the actual software does. Super excited to meet this gentleman and talk about his ventures, how he started the company, and what his vision is for the future. Mr. Artavazd Barseghyan. Artavazd, welcome, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here, Mike.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you taking the time. So let's kick it off. I want to hear a little bit more before we
Yes.
talk a little bit more about Leanbe. I want to hear a little bit about your background. You have a master's
Yeah.
computer science and engineering.
Yeah.
It's always been a passion of yours, or is this something you've adopted throughout your career?
No, actually, from the beginnings when I had my first computer, etc. So I liked programming. At 12, I wrote, I think, my first line of code, and I was very passionate about it. I started with basic languages like, I don't know, Visual Basic, etc. As when you start moving things in the computer and start crashing everything. And then when I was 14, I started with OOP, with C++, Java, etc. And that was when I knew that that is something I want to do in the future. And that's it. That was my passion, and I knew that when the time was there, and I was going to university, I was going to study that. And when I was 19, I came back to Armenia because, I wasn't living here in Armenia before. I was in Mexico. So
Really?
my family migrated to Mexico in 1998, and I came back to Armenia in 2008, and basically to study the university, because here the university is cheaper, and the education level is good. It's not bad. So I came back here to study the university, to study the computer science, and I studied for 6 years, bachelor degree and then master's degree. And when I was studying a master's degree, I already founded with my friends. We founded Cygnus, which is the company that produced, we will say like this, Leanbe. So we found Cygnus, and well, that's when we started to kick off stuff.
Love it. You're
Yeah,
probably the first Armenian diaspora I met migrated to Mexico and then moved back to Armenia. That's amazing.
yeah, and well, my parents are musicians, and they got
Uh,
a contract job there. A philharmonic orchestra was opening, so yeah, we moved when I was 10, and when I was 19, I decided to come back.
I love Mexico. I live in California. I think I mentioned to you. Did a lot of travel in Mexico. I'm fascinated with the Latino culture.
Yeah, I love it too, actually.
Have you been back since you moved?
Yeah, I travel like one time every every year or maybe every 2 years. So my parents are still there, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I'd
I
imagine, given current state of affairs in Armenia, might be a safer place, but you never know.
yeah,
No, that's amazing. So, computer science, getting back into that, you always
yeah,
had a passion for playing with computers, coding stuff.
exactly.
Uh, but let's talk a little bit about the founding experience because it's one thing to be a coder,
Yeah,
but it's another thing to
exactly.
be a founder. And then, you have a very impressive resume of. It seems like you're always the leader of your companies. So,
Yeah.
did you always have that entrepreneurial drive to be not just a coder but the leader, or did that just come naturally to you?
Actually, yeah, that was another thing that during my career of programmer, I was always thinking. I always had it in my mind to have my own product, to lead my own company, and so it was always there in my mind. But sometimes I felt like I cannot do it yet. I'm not capable of doing it at that moment of time.
Right.
So when I was working in another company, like a programmer, I was, I don't know, we were creating very complex applications, games, and a lot of stuff. That's when I felt that it's time to move on. I think I have learned enough from programming, and it's time to start with something new, and not something new like in another company, but in something new. I don't know, new challenges alone. I don't know with. And so that's when I'm with my friends, with two of my friends, we decided to found a company, and we quit our jobs. So we were like in zero revenue per month, zero income. So we started it. We said that it's okay. We are good at what we are doing. We are good at programming. So if it doesn't work, okay, we can go back to programming whenever we want. So that's how we decided, and we did it. And
So you
yeah,
always kind of had that risk taking as well,
yeah,
the
and
entrepreneurial spirit of why not? Let's give it a shot.
and we are doing it still today. We are taking many risks, and almost always it works. I don't know. So it's
Well, there's
we
got to be
just
some sort outside of the vision. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. I'm
yeah,
guessing, right?
of course. There is a
Yeah, it's you seem
lot
to
of
be
things behind it, but the main thing is that you gotta take the risk. That's the main I don't know, tagline.
absolutely.
so that's when we started, but we started like an outsourcing company. So we started to take projects from outside and doing it. As you know, here in Armenia, the I don't know, the prices are lower. The workforce is cheaper than in the US if you compare it.
Absolutely.
So we started to bring projects here to Armenia and hire people so they can do it. But then we felt that this is not something that we want to do in the long run, because it's always, sometimes you don't know the clients. Sometimes many problems arise, and it's very difficult to maintain a company like that. We always working with different customers, not having um,
Different
not
customers,
having
different projects, different
exactly
wireframes.
different projects,
Yeah.
and you don't have a good vision of what we are doing. So that's why we always thought that okay, this is something we are doing it temporarily, but we have to think about something else. We have to have our own product. So that's when we thought that okay, we are good at making games, because in the company we were working, we were programming games. So we thought that okay, let's do some games, and that's when we created like two or three games for iOS, um, for the iOS platform. And the problem was that we were thinking like developers. We were doing the games, we were launching the games in the app market, but we weren't marketing it at all. So we were creating some awesome stuff, but nobody knew about it. So that was the main, I don't know, how do you call it, failure, you can call it, because yeah, you are creating something that nobody knows about it. It's practically a failure. So that were our first steps, programming our own product, but we weren't making any money of it.
So how did you
So yeah,
escape that challenge? Did you start hiring the right people, or did you start learning marketing skills? What was the next step after you found the problem?
first we didn't hire anyone. First, we thought, okay, I am the CEO. I have to know about sales. I have to know about marketing. I have to do it. So that's when I realized that I need to take some courses, learn online. I don't know, do something about it. So that's when I started to learn more about that part of the company. And that's when we thought that, okay, let's pay more attention to the problems, and we can hire some developers that can do the work for us. They can code for us, so we don't have to code anymore. But the problem was that
No one could
still,
write the code as well as you do.
yeah, so that's the problem, that you don't trust them. So somehow you don't trust them. You don't think that they can do it well. They can do it as well as you can do it. So that's the problem, and it's something very difficult to overcome, because when you're good at something and you bring somebody to do it for you, you are like very, I don't know. mm,
Conflicted.
you
It seems like it's like,
yeah.
right. It's like kind of. I recently became a dad. I'll give you an example. And when
Uh-huh.
our nanny comes in, I was just kind of like giving my son. I was like, do I?
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, my man. I appreciate that. But it's like you said, that's your baby, right? You
Yeah,
built the
exactly.
baby. It's like, how do I give it? Are they going to take care of it as much as I will? I think it's part of the biggest challenge when it comes to entrepreneurs is outsourcing, but
Yeah.
outsourcing with purpose. And not everyone has that passion. So
Yeah.
tell me, like, this is being a leader 101. How did you overcome that? How did you start
Yeah.
outsourcing effectively?
So that still, so we had already some employees, but we were still coding. So so it was like a mixture. So we were thinking more about marketing. We were doing already some stuff regarding marketing and sales, but still we were coding. So part of our time was coding, and part of our time was sailing. So what we did is create more products. So I don't know why, but we were thinking that if we do more, we can get more money. So that was what we were thinking back then. We were not thinking to create something good, and so we can get advantage of it, and make something, solve some real problems of the customers. We
Right.
were thinking about making money. We were not thinking about solving problems. So, but then when we started our next products, which were more products for IT companies, were tools for IT companies, that's when we were okay. We we are confronting our first problems, because okay, we already got customers, and we can see what the customers are wanting, are needing from us, because we have a product. It works because, okay, it works because we have customers, but it doesn't work because the customer wants something else. His problem is a little bit different of what we are solving here. So that's when we started to change some things in the product. So we started to change according to what the customers really needed. So then we changed some more. We changed more and more and more, and that's when we got our first successful product, which was Backupguard. It's called Backupguard, and it's a backup solution for website owners. And actually, Backupguard was it was called only Backup. It was that was the name, and it was a backup tool. You just use it to back up your website, and that's it. So, but we learned that that the customers needed some more features. They needed other functionalities. Their problem was way much bigger than what we were solving at that time. So that's how we started improving it, and etc. But the problem was the timing, because you pay like 6 months of your time in, I don't know, in building something, and you launch very, very late in the market, and you already have many competitors, and sometimes you have some features that nobody uses. So that was another problem. So that's how we thought about that was the first ideas of Leanbe. That's when we were thinking about, okay, what if there was a solution, there was a product that can tell us what to do next, but it can tell us that based on data. So
AI.
Exactly. So that's how the Leanbe idea came in. But back then it was called differently. It was called Bupify. So
Pupify?
Bupify, like from
Why?
the name it came up with from be updated and notified.
Oh,
Yeah, it was Pupify. But that was the problem, that nobody liked the name and nobody liked the design. So based on the feedback we got from the customers, we changed it. We rebranded, and we created Leanbe. So, but before getting into that, I want to say that the main thing we learned from making Backupguard and some other products that we had at the time, the main thing we learned was that we need to listen to our customers. So, but the problem is that sometimes the customers, they say they want this, but they don't really know that they want that. So they talk, but they don't know if that's exactly what they want. So what they are saying not always is what they really need. And sometimes we think that they need this, and that's always wrong again.
are we talking about from like a features and functionality standpoint?
Exactly.
Okay, so
exactly, because if the customer
may think
says
that they want something redesigned, but in fact is they need to build out this feature based on the customer feedback of other.
Exactly.
Got it.
Because sometimes you go to a product and you say, okay, I need this button here because it can help me solve many problems. But sometimes they don't think that, okay, if they had something different besides that button, it would be much easier, and it would be better for them. So the solutions we found in the internet before doing Leanbe, because we have many competitors that they are doing the same thing almost. They have the same components that we have. The solutions we found, they lacked of that data analysis part, because they were like getting feedback from customers. They were creating the roadmap based on that, and they were notifying the customers, etc. They had all the three components that we have, but the problem was that they didn't have the analysis part. And when I talk about analysis, I mean that, okay, if you have big data, you need to analyze that data and see suggest the product manager or anyone in the company that who is working on that to be able to prioritize correctly the roadmap, because one thing is prioritized based on experience and one thing is prioritized based on data. So that's
It
the
always
big,
wins, end of day. I mean,
yeah.
that's the hardcore, that's the hard information that we always want, that we're always looking for. Love it. So who's your target market at this point, Artavazd? Is it software? I'm guessing
Yes,
software companies, but like,
the
is it
SaaS
startups,
market is our
mid-market?
target market. The
Sorry, who?
SaaS market,
Yes.
software as a service. Yeah, because for using Leanbe, almost anyone can use Leanbe. Almost anyone, even the blog owners. But the main target is product owners. If you have a product, if you have a service, then you can make better use of Leanbe.
Yeah.
So that's our target market. And and the buyer persona is the product manager, we think. So the person that we are selling the product is to the product managers.
So CPOs, product owners.
CPOs, product owners, and product managers. Basically anyone who is deciding what to do with the product,
Got it.
with the next steps of the product. Yeah.
And how does your software work? How does your service work? Is it a license-based model? Is it a usage-based model? API calls? What's the?
It's a subscription-based model, but our plans, the differentiators are in each plan are the number of projects that you can have and the number of team members that you can invite.
Got it.
So because some big companies, they need to be able to invite, I don't know, many team members. For example, the customer service staff, the marketing staff, because these people are very important in the process of deciding the features and putting down the roadmap, right? So it's not always only the product manager. Sometimes that departments also are an important factor in the deciding process.
I'd imagine marketing design sometimes weigh in
Exactly.
as well, because they want to hear from a customer feedback standpoint what else
Exactly.
they could be doing with collateral and sales enablement, things like that.
And customer support is very important too, because customer support is the first department that confronts the problems of the users, right? So they receive tons of feature requests every day, feature request or bug request, because sometimes something doesn't work, and they receive it.
So explain to me then, are these custom integrations into like a Jira or a Trello, something along those lines, where you're pulling that data, or do you have to custom code it depending on every customer you engage with?
That's a very good question. The problem is that right now we just launched and we don't have integrations with Jira, but with Jira and Asana, etc. But that's next thing. We are going to integrate with them. Right now we have a standalone page that you can redirect your customers to, and you can say to them, okay, go there and make your request.
Got it.
That's one way of doing it. And second way of doing it is your customer support specialist, he can go to the admin panel and add it there manually. So if he receives the request in the chat or in the email or whatever he receives it, he goes and does it manually from the admin panel.
I'll tell you, someone that works in software enterprise sales for years, this is a sensitive topic for me too, because outside of product owners, engineering, marketing, and customer support, there's always a sales aspect of it. And we're always on the front lines hearing it. Well, Mike, why don't we have this feature? Why isn't it integrated into this? And my challenge is always figuring out, okay, well, who do I take that feedback to? It sounds like engineering, but maybe product. I think for me would be great if I just type something into Salesforce and say, customer part of a record needs this. So maybe a Salesforce integration or CRM integration down the road may potentially be useful.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Actually, we have plenty of stuff planned for for Leanbe, but the team is small right now. But as soon as I don't know, we get bigger and bigger, we can uh,
Yeah.
start making everything work.
Well, the beauty is that you have the actual software you need to build out your solution too, right? So it's kind of like a solution helping itself on.
Exactly. That's a good point, and that's how we knew that we need to change the name and the design. That's exactly how we knew it. And by the way, uh, our other products we had before, they still exist, and other teams are managing them, and they are using Leanbe to improve their experience too. So we have tried it and we have used it. So I can say that we were our first customers, and it's good to try it, because sometimes you create something and you don't even try it, and you are trying to sell it. So it's
It's a little hypocritical, right? Like,
yeah,
just
and
buy this. I don't use it, but you buy this.
yeah, exactly. Yes, it happens too, because we have done that too. We
Yeah.
have been there too.
Well, it seems like you found this problem through Synganos. Is that pronounced?
Yeah, exactly.
You had so many customers and not knowing how to reprioritize and better serve them, help them upsell, by buying more hours. I'm not sure how you guys build, but the majority of outsourcing is more of, okay, this is the next thing that we should be doing for you. And
Yeah,
I'm guessing for Backupguard too, people are coming in with a lot more features. How do I integrate with my Dropbox or Box or something like
exactly,
that? So
exactly. They came with
guessing all that kind of
tons of.
brought all those problems to light, and you said, yeah, there's got to be a better way of doing this.
Exactly. And so if you want, we can talk more about the AI part, the data
Yeah,
analysis part that I told you about. Yeah,
absolutely. I want to hear more because a lot of things are moving towards AI, right? Like
exactly.
even in the company that I'm with right now, it's a huge component of is installing bots to streamline the actual workflow across numerous departments, et cetera. So, one, how did you get into AI? Let's start
Yeah.
there. And two, let's talk about how it applies to Leanbe.
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, let's talk about how we decided this, and then I will go back to your question. So first of all, like I said, we saw that we need a data analysis component, and the best way of doing it was analyzing the behavior of the customers. So if the customer in your website is doing this, is doing that, and he says that he needs this, etc. Any actions and behaviors of the customer needed to be analyzed. So that was when we thought, okay, we need some specialists. We need somebody who is doing already that can suggest us how to do this. And that's when I thought about my friend and colleague from the university. So I thought about him because he was already in a company that was doing AI, and so I called him, and we went there, and we talked with him, and we said that, okay, we need to do this. How do we do it? And that's when he started to give us advice, and right now he is our main advisor in the AI part. So he's the CTO of that company, and that's how we started. And right now we are just getting the data and building our AI model. But soon, I think at the end of this year, we will have our AI part properly working.
Love it. And did you find it challenging for you specific? I mean, you grew up in the computer science space, but it's a completely different technology to learn. Did you find it challenging for
It's
yourself to adopt?
in this stage, you don't have to like get way deeper in it, like I was doing it before. So right now, I am interested in getting to know the basics, and then the person who is I don't know, better on it, he has to do the work. So right now I'm thinking about how we can get Leanbe to the next step. I'm thinking the next steps of the business, and the people that are good at AI, they're working on the AI part. So I'm not messing so much in that part, and I am trusting more than before.
You learned well,
So
my friend. This time you actually feel more comfortable to pass off to the
yeah,
subject matter experts.
right now delegation is my I don't know,
Priority.
priority. Yeah. I delegate more, I eliminate more, so mm, I am focusing more on what I need to be focused on.
To make the company more successful.
Exactly.
Absolutely. How has that transition been? Because outside of delegation, you grew up with a passion of technology, but
Yeah,
now you're Mr. CEO, crunching numbers,
it's
worried about payroll, budgeting, fundraising. How is
very
that?
difficult.
Do you feel like, are you fulfilled with what you're doing? Because sometimes people just miss coding because they loved it so much.
Yeah, sometimes happens that I miss coding, but I don't touch it because if I start coding, it can take me a lot of time, so I don't do it. I just forget about it, and let's keep this going, because actually I like what I am doing right now. I love it too. I love it like I love coding. So right now. Uh, Sometimes I feel frustration because when you don't have that background that it's needed to run a to run a business properly, sometimes you feel frustration. But then when you achieve something, it's a big push for you, and then you start, okay, let's keep going. I need to learn this now. And there are many stuff that you need to learn, like accounting, financials, I don't know, the business stuff, sales, marketing, etc. And it's it's way more interesting in the way that it's broader. Okay, it's not because coding is like, I don't know, it's one way of, it's one road. You just have to keep climbing and climbing. But here it's broader. You can do this, either that, or either that another thing,
Good.
or you are completely wrong, you have to go into another direction. So it's very different from coding.
Love it.
And yeah, I just keep going that way.
Love it. So this is a sales biz podcast. Tell me about the
Yeah,
sales aspect of it. How did you, I'm passionate about software sales. This is what I do. How
yeah.
did you start managing customers, reaching out to these CPOs, setting meetings, doing the
Okay.
presentation? More importantly, how did you learn to close these customers? I'd love to hear a little bit about your process.
Yeah. So my partner, who is the COO of the company, um, he he in this process of learning and growing, he was taking that road too. So he was like talking with other companies that were doing sales to other B2B sales. So that's how do I say this? Okay, so we learn from these companies how to do it. And what we started with is with LinkedIn. Okay, the best place to go to if you are selling to businesses is go to LinkedIn. So we started to talk to our other companies and to other product managers and persons that can be interested in Leanbe directly in LinkedIn. So that was the first thing to do, because if you are B2B, you have to go to LinkedIn. And second, the marketing aspect of it. Um, we have another partner who was working on that aspect specifically, and we planned a very good roadmap of the marketing aspect. And the first step of it was product hunt launch. So we thought, okay, we have to launch it in product hunt.
First step
in
was
that
what?
way.
Sorry.
The product hunt launch.
Oh, product hunt. Got it.
Yeah. So so we did it, and then we have many other things that we have to do in the marketing aspect. And returning back to the sales, regarding the sales, the best way of doing sales, first is reaching customers that you think that they are your ideal customer.
Target market.
Second is talking to your existing customers, because we already have customers that came from the product hunt launch, and we are talking with them, we are calling them, we are writing them. We try to keep in touch with them, because some of them are in trial period, some of them they don't use the product, some of them they use it but they don't know about I don't know about many features that we have. So you have to keep in touch with them. So that's another big aspect of the sales part, because sales is not only bringing people and selling to them the product, but it's also keeping them in the retention, keeping them there, and be in constant communication with them.
Yeah.
So that's I would say that's the most important thing that we are doing right now in the sales aspect.
Got it. What about in terms of just, this actual sales cycle? What kind of do you guys adopt some sort of methodology? Does your COO, I guess, does he have some sort of process that he follows to close the deal?
Yeah, of course. We have several processes going there, but the first thing is the sales flow that we have in our website. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, we have set up a sales flow. We know that, okay, we have to do this. When the lead comes, okay, he subscribes. Okay, then we have to let him stay, like, let's say 5 days there in the website, and then we follow up and see how is everything going, etc. And so we have a flow like this in our website. So we have a sales flow in the website, and we have a sales flow from the outside. Okay, what we are doing outside the website to be able to convert the marketing, the leads that the marketing is bringing. So we have like two flows, I would say.
Love it.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with rejection? You mentioned that there's a lot of people that already do what you do.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like reinventing the wheel, basically, but obviously there's a niche of your component. So one, how do you deal with rejection? And two, what do you tell customers that, how do you stand out as opposed to the other products out there?
Yeah, let me tell you about one thing that I have heard from one person, that okay, this person he has very good experience in startupping, etc. And once we were talking to him, and he said, okay, this product is not going to work because product managers have a very high ego. So the product managers think that what they say is what has to be done, and they don't listen to anyone. So this is not going to work. So
that would be a terrible product manager, because I think half of the job is listening to people, listening to
yeah. So
feedback. But okay, I'll work.
So that was very interesting feedback for us. And sometimes when you receive a feedback like that from somebody who already has success in something, you sometimes feel like down, like you think, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong here or something like that. But then you hear more feedback from other types of people, and you feel like, okay, there are like different feedbacks, and you have to get all the feedback, analyze it, and learn from it, and build whatever you are building. but don't get frustrated and don't get down. Like I said, you just have to deal with every feedback you get. So
Absolutely.
so that's what we are doing, and so far it's been working. So regarding the second question, that okay, there are many competitors that are doing this, and some customers come and say, okay, what should I move to you if you are doing the same that another person is doing it? That part is the way we explain it is that okay, we do have the steps that other have, but the main differentiator, the key differentiator that we have is the AI part. And that part, we think that is very important, because if you have data, if you have all the steps that you need in product development, but you don't analyze that data and you don't use that data in your favor, it's like, I don't know, you are still trusting to the hunches of the product managers. You are still trusting to the experience of the product manager, and you are not listening correctly to your customers, because you are listening to what they are saying, but you are not listening to what they actually need. You know, there is a big difference there. I
Absolutely.
cannot explain it, but there is very big difference there.
Love it. No, it's there's so many different ways of sales styles, right? It's just a matter of it seems like it's working well for you and your team. Uh,
Yeah,
software sales is it's a beast on its own. It's just some people cold call, some people do the LinkedIn, some people even send handwritten notes to try to get someone's attention. There's so
yeah,
many different avenues. It's all about different styles. It seems like you guys are more data driven with your exact target market and your exact persona. So, which in my opinion is actually one of the most efficient ways of doing things. As opposed to spraying and praying, you know exactly who you want to talk to and you go after those people diligently. So nicely done on the organizational skills there.
yeah. Thank you.
Arzavan, I have a couple of
Yeah.
more questions for you.
Okay. Yeah.
You're in a very hot space, but another thing that's hot right now in the technology space is
Yeah.
cryptography.
That's right.
And as a smart guy like yourself that has a background in computer science, I want to hear a little bit more about one, your take on crypto, and two, where do you see it evolving in specifically in the SaaS space that we play in?
Yeah. So first, let me say that I'm very interested in that area too, and I have invested in crypto. I am not mining, but I am trading and doing some other stuff. So I'm interested in that part. But regarding the second question, where is it going, and if how do I see it? Um, well, as you can see, for example, let's remember that a couple of days ago, I think 1 week ago, China said that, okay, we are not going to accept cryptocurrency here, and etc. And as you can see, the prices of the crypto, they went down like drastically. And then next day, another company, let me remember, I think Twitter, or I don't remember who. I think Twitter said that they are going to accept cryptocurrency as a payment method, and then again it went up. So crypto right now is something very interesting, and I see it like the future. I see it like the future currency. But the problem is that many political and, I don't know,
Emotionally
power.
driven right now is what you're
Exactly,
saying.
exactly. So it's not so right now. It's very fragile in that in that if you want to see it like that, but it is not going to disappear like we were thinking before, because before we were thinking like, what if I invest in crypto and it doesn't work? I'm going to lose all my money, etc. And but right now it is going to stay, I think, and it is getting bigger and bigger, and it is getting applied in many places, and many start using it, and I think it's the future. So I recommend anyone to get more information about it and start using it. Regarding the technology behind it, the blockchains, etc., I'm very interested too on how it works, etc. And also, I have a very good idea that can be done with blockchains, but I am fully focused right now in Leanbe, and I don't want to start with another project. So if anyone is interested, I can give my idea away. Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but it's something we could potentially talk about. So would you be one of those guys that down the road as a CEO is, hey, Artavazd, can I pay you in Bitcoin to use Leanbe? Would you be open to something like that?
Yes, sure, for sure, for sure.
Love it.
If we haven't done it yet, it's because we didn't have time to do it, but we will surely do that. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And last question for you, my friend. All
Yeah.
your insight and all the feedback has been super helpful. One of my favorite questions I like to ask is if you were to jump in that time machine and go see your 18-year-old self. I mean, you still seem like a young guy, but
Yeah.
look at my hairline. Clearly, I'm in my late 30s already. But if you were to go back and tell your 18-year-old self something, what would you tell younger Arzavat?
Okay, if I got to my when I was 16 years old, I would say that don't waste your time in playing games, because like I lost like 2 years playing games and doing absolutely nothing, and that was very crucial, I think. And I would say that is the one thing that I would say to me, to don't waste your time in there. And that's it, because regarding any other step that I took in my career and in my life, I don't regret anything, and you learn from it. And anything you do, it's how you build your future. So you don't have to change anything. But when you are wasting your time in things that are not important, it's better to not do that. It's okay to play sometime, but not always, like not all the day.
You're a serious man, but I definitely could respect that. I know these kids, they're on Twitch making hundreds of thousands of dollars playing video games. So I guess it all depends on, what you do. Are you getting
Of
sponsored? Or are you
course, of
playing
course.
fun?
If that's your passion and you want to play games because and get better on it and be the best one in that area, it's fine. Go ahead and do it. But if you are doing it just by doing it, I don't know,
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Yeah, you can do it like 1 hour a day, not the whole day.
How many hours were you playing, man? For 2 years?
All day, all day long, all day long. Yeah. So and I wasn't doing it because I wanted to, I don't know, to succeed in that area. I was doing it because it felt right at
It was fun.
the moment. It was fun. Yeah. And the problem is that that age is very important, from 16 to 18. So it's an age that you can learn many good stuff. And the problem is that I was learning stuff before that. So I was learning from 14 to 16, but then I stopped, and then I continued from the 18. So it was like one period, I don't know of
No one's perfect,
what I
brother.
was doing. Yeah.
No one's perfect, but let me tell you, I mean, look at the guy you ended up being, starting companies, founding companies, helping companies grow, creating jobs. So whatever those games you were playing, I don't know, maybe something good for you.
Yeah.
Uh, Artavazd, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Really appreciate you taking the time. Really excited for your next venture with Leanbe and continuing
Thank you very
growing out
much.
there. Continue staying in touch. I'm
Thank you
super
very much.
excited for what you have in store down the road.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time and the opportunity here with you.
Thank you, brother.